All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashim, Yahushai Bahashim Rachadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone, Salakia. And salutations, all right, to the brothers out there throughout the four corners pushing this word in all truth and sincerity. All right, I'm the brother Shamar Amar from Great Millstone, Miami. Also from the camp of Great Millstone, Southwest Florida, out in the Fort Myers area, coming to you Akim, or Aquas, with another meditate on it, okay? And Lord's will just meditate on it, be quick, edifying, exhorting, and serves as a reproof, rebuke, and correction, as well as a comfort. All right, the meditate on it is going to be on ruling our spirits, okay? Because we must rule our spirits. All right, we can't be over emotional. All right, we can't be overindulgent in things. All right, we have to have temperance, man. But in this aspect, in this lesson, I really want to go into ruling our spirits when it comes to emotions. All right, because we all have emotions. All right, and so a lot of our emotions sometimes are valid, they're valid. A situation frustrates you. Yeah, man, there's a place for you to be frustrated. But yet, we have to rule our spirits, because some people will get frustrated and they'll be overly frustrated. And now, because of that frustration, they're making poor decisions. Okay, but if they had ruled their spirit, those poor decisions would not have been made due to their frustration. They would allow their frustration to be capped. All right. Same thing when it goes into being saddened. You get what I'm saying, or whatever it is, anxiety. Okay, we have to rule our spirit, man. So I asked ChatGPT, how detrimental is it not to rule your spirit? It says, according to the Bible, failing to rule your spirit is extremely detrimental because it affects your judgment, relationships, witnesses, and ultimately your walk with God. And that's very much true. Okay? If you cannot rule your spirit, poor judgment could be made because you're not ruling your spirit. All right? The relationships you have with brothers or whoever around you become tainted because those individuals realize that you have no rule over your spirit, so they can't really build with you. Okay? Any little thing says, you get offended. Nobody want to be around somebody like that. Any little thing somebody says, now you sad. And you eroing. Nobody want to be around that, man. So those relationships start to get tarnished. All right, your witness becomes less credible, man, because everybody knows that you're an overly emotional person. How do we know this person is giving a very accurate description of what they seen, or are they fluffing it up? Are they removing certain things from what happened because we know this person is over emotional? They don't have rule over their spirit. Okay, and ultimately it's going to affect your walk with God, because why? Now, because you're so, you're so everywhere with your emotions, now you lacking faith, man. Now you questioning the Lord, okay? Now you're allowing your emotions to rule, and you're doing things that go against the Heavenly Father just to appease your fucking emotions. All right, but if you have rule over your spirit, those things could be avoided, all right? Continuing on with ChatGPT, it says, scriptures repeatedly present self-control as a mark of wisdom, which is true, okay, and spiritual maturity, all right? Because as we grow into this, in this faith of ours, things that ruffled our feathers and bothered us or stroked our emotions when we were young in the faith shouldn't be bothering us now, all right? We should have already mastered those areas, and at this point in our walk, those things should not affect us, man. Okay? And what? People will see that, oh man, this person is very, spiritually mature. Okay? It says, here are several ways the Bible describes its consequences. One, it says you become spiritually defenseless, okay? And chat quoted Proverbs 25 and 28. Let's get that real quick. All right. Book of Proverbs 25 and verse 28, it says, he that hath no rule over his spirit is like a city that is broken down without walls. Right? You become defenseless, man. You being tossed to and fro by your emotions. Now Satan is able to just creep in and have a field day with you, man. All right. Somebody says, all right, hey, you didn't like it, so now you offended. But the whole time it wasn't nothing of offense. It's just you took it the wrong way because you don't like that word being used. Let's just let's say that's an example. And now you offended, and now Satan creep in your mind, and now you got an evil eye, all right, or evil suspicion, all right, toward your brother or your friend. Okay? Now you willing to lie on the man because you was offended. We got to be mindful, man. These things actually happen. Okay? Let's go on. It says in ChatGPT, it says in the ancient world, a city without walls was exposed to every enemy, Likewise, when you lack self-control, anger, fear, pride, lust, anxiety, or impulsiveness can easily gain a foothold. Right? You so overly emotional. Now you become proud. You so overly emotional. Now everything, you're in fear. You're uncertain. You don't have no real certainty of what's going to come. That also plays into you lacking faith in the Lord. That's why we have to really rule our spirits, man. Okay? You can't control your emotions. You too overly emotional. Now you lusting after shit that's not yours, man. Because why? This female that came up and talked to you, makes you feel so happy, makes you feel so good that you're and you want her. Now you ignoring the fact that she got a man because you fucking emotional, man. These shits got to be put in check, man. The Lord don't like that shit. Now you got anxiety. You so over emotional. Now every little shit, you have an anxiety attack. Come on, no, not so. All right, we supposed to keep our body under subjection, man. All right, we supposed to rule ourselves. Okay. 2, it says in ChatGPT, it says 2. The bulletin 2 says it leads to sin. Many sins happen because people act before mastering their emotions. Right. You're moving off impulse. You're moving off emotion because it makes you feel good, or because that angers you, or because that brought fear to you, and you moving in ways that's not wise, man. And now you're doing things to offend the spirit. You sinning. Okay? These things we have to be mindful of these things, man. All right? You can't rule your emotions. It shows that you lack wisdom. All right? Proverbs 14 and 29 tells us what? Okay? Proverbs 14:29, it says, he that is slow to wrath is of great understanding. All right? That's a person that has rule over their spirit. Okay? A situation comes, all right? And before they start getting enraged, they're slow to speak. They're quick to hear. All right? They listen to the whole matter before they judge. Okay? That's a person that's slow to wrath. And guess what? It's counted to them as someone of great understanding. What we read in the chat earlier, it shows their having rule over your spirit shows that you have wisdom and spiritual maturity. A person that's slow to wrath is someone of a mature spirit. Okay? But he that is hasty of spirit exalteth folly. Okay? You so quick to move off your emotions, man. All right, you exalted folly. That's folly, man. That's fucking folly, man. All right? And it shows that you lack wisdom. All right? Back in chat, it says, a person ruled by impulse often makes poor decisions that could have been avoided with patience, okay? The bulletin says it destroys relationships. All right? It gives opportunity to evil. Okay? You overly emotional, you angry. Now that anger breeds resentment. Now that resentment is building a bitterness. Now you offended in the whole spirit. You offended in the Lord now, all because you was over emotional, man. All right, it says holding on to bitterness, rage, and resentment can leave room for further temptation and destructive behavior, man. All right, and this is a very present thing that happens to people in the real world, man. So we got to be mindful of these things, man. All right, Bulletin 6 says it keeps you from true greatness, and that's true. All right, it does. All right, it keeps you from true greatness. What, Proverbs 16:32? All right. Proverbs 16:32 says, he that is slow to anger is better than a mighty man. Salaki. He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh the city. All right. So if you're not ruling your spirit, how can you be likened to one that's taking the city, man? You can't. You can't. You're going to be as a defenseless city without walls. All right. So, that's something quick that I wanted to go into. Like I said, the first tape, the audio got butchered, so had to redo it. And there was a couple of things in the first lesson I said that I wanted to be put down, but I can't really recall it. And that audio is gone, so it's all cool. But hopefully this was edifying to the body. With that, shalom.